Hello, everyone. This is Kat Corchado, and welcome to the first bonus issue of Sisters in Service Down Under. Now, I know you're probably wondering why, and here's why. I was really thinking about what it's like for women in other countries who go into the military. I started wondering if their experiences were the same or different from ours. And you know what I found? That they're very similar. The same things that they go through are the same things we go through, all the way through the transition era. So I hope that you'll take a listen, and I hope you enjoy. Thanks. Welcome to another episode of Sisters in Service. I am your host, Kat Corchado. I hope that you will welcome Renae Bartlett, who is from Australia, but she's also a veteran, to the show. Renae, welcome.
Hi, Kat. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
Oh, it's so awesome that you're here and that you wanted to do this. I had this epiphany about what it's like for women veterans in another country. And that's how Renae and I met. Actually, it was on Facebook.
Yeah, I know.
And I thought, wow, what is their service like? Which prompted me to do this Sisters in Service Down Under. And Renae is the first in this series. So I hope you enjoy this. First of all, Renae, tell us a little bit about your service.
Yeah, well, I can't believe I'm the first one. Wow, I've got a lot of pressure to live up to. So,
yeah, no pressure.
No pressure. I served for 12 years in the Australian Army, so full time, and I enlisted straight out of high school. So, 18-year-old me decided that that's what I wanted to do, and so I essentially had my first part of my adult life in the Army. I originally started as a radio operator in the Royal Australian Signal Corps, and then I transferred to the Intelligence Corps and became an analyst. And I had a really amazing career, I must say. I was very fortunate, and I think I really enjoyed my time serving, and I certainly felt that the time for me to leave was right when I did. So, yeah, I really did have a great time, met a lot of amazing people, and, yeah, great service.
That's amazing because my husband was an intel analyst in the Air Force.
Yeah.
He loved it. He absolutely, to this day, he speaks about it. He said, I should have done that. Should have stayed in. I was like, yeah, it's too late now, dude.
Yeah, that time's fast.
So, Renae, what types of services are there? So, like in the United States, we have the Army, Air Force, Marine Corps, Navy, and Coast Guard. So are there the same types over there, or is it more limited?
It's certainly less. So under the bracket of the Australian Defence Force, or the ADF, as we term it, you have the three tiers. So Army, Navy, Air Force. So we've got it really simple. So they're the three tiers that come under that. It's certainly a lot smaller than the over in the US, but yeah, the three tiers, the three services. Yeah.
Awesome. So what is basic training like, or boot camp over there? Is it, now let me preface that. Let me say this first. So people in the Air Force are always made fun of because they're like, oh, Air Force, y'all, we didn't have to do anything, and I agree with that. Okay. Our boot camp was very easy. And compared to the Marine Corps, compared to the Army, I don't know what the Navy one is like, but, there's a lot of physicalness, physical fitness. There's a lot of, putting your rucksack on and marching 10, 15 miles or whatever. So how was your basic training in comparison?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. So it's changed a little bit from when I went through in time duration. So going through the Army when I enlisted, our boot camp, or recruit training as it's called, was only 6 weeks. I went through at that time when they were trialing it, but now it's 12 weeks, which gives you a lot more time to I guess.
Acclimate.
Yeah. And I know it was certainly like to cram in the amount of things that you need to de-civilianize you to become a military in 6 weeks is really intense. So,
Right.
Certainly there was the physical aspect, and I played sport before I joined, but nothing really could prepare me for carrying a pack on my back and, marching with boots on and running with boots on, all that kind of stuff, and then learning all your skills as well. So it definitely was a steep learning curve from that aspect. And I can remember the first week I was just going, what have I done? Like, oh my God.
I want to go back home.
Oh my God.
I made a mistake.
Yeah. And I lived, because I joined straight from school, I was still living at home. So I'd gone from the comfort of, mum and dad and all of that to suddenly being yelled at because I'm not carrying my bag in the right hand and, all that kind of stuff.
I think that's hard for everybody.
It is. But yeah, it was certainly a mind shift. But when you get through it, the sense of accomplishment that you get is there's not many things that I can liken that to. We go, oh my gosh, I can't believe that I've just completely, 6 weeks ago, I wasn't this person. 6 weeks ago, I didn't know how to fire a rifle, and I didn't know how, I didn't even know what webbing was, that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's quite a transformation, I think. Yeah.
So what was in basic, what was the one thing that you either was the hardest for you or the thing that you disliked the most in basic?
That's a really good question. So,
or did you like all of it? You're like, I love this.
Just here, I'm thinking back in. I'm thinking back in what it was. I'm going to go out on a limb here and go. I probably, aside from that first week where I was like, oh my God, I really don't like this. And in that first week, I really was not prepared for being yelled at all the time. All of that. I do know what it was throughout the whole thing, even though I'm a morning person, being told, being yelled at to wake up. So it would be, we would have a thing where it was hallway drills. So I was in one platoon. So it would be hallway 1 and, it'd be 6 a.m. or 5:30, whatever time you had to get up. And you'd have to jump out of bed with your sheet over your left shoulder and all stand at attention. And then you'd have to number off. So you've literally just woken up and you've got to get this sheet off your bed, and if you're on the top bunk then you are out of luck. You've got to get down.
I know.
Yeah, so I think that, and then you don't want to be the person that stuffed up your number, because if you've got all the way down to like number 36 and you get your number stuffed up, then you have to start all the way back again, and then you get punished for it. So I'd say probably that, because you never really, by the end of it, you might become more efficient, but it's still annoying. So that's probably it. What was the other question? Was the accomplishment or the thing I enjoyed most? Yeah,
what was the one thing that you were like, okay, basic training kind of sucks, but I really enjoyed this part of it?
Yeah, I think doing the things that only really a soldier can do, where you almost feel like you're, at the time I was like, oh, wow, this is kind of cool. So when you're doing the bayonet assault course, and, you're stabbing things with a bayonet, and
like,
you kind
take that, get all that frustration out.
Exactly. And that's probably what it was. But that's what they're the things in your mind that you go, yeah, army. And it's really cliche. I mean, obviously that is not the day in, day out of it. It's, it's part of a process of getting you to use controlled aggression and, teamwork and fitness and all that kind of stuff. But I think that part I really like, because I was like, oh, wow, I'm actually starting to become a soldier and this is actually happening now. It's not just something that's, hoping one day. So, I think those kind of things where you're doing really hardcore army stuff at the time. Yeah.
So I know that different militaries in the United States, And we all have different uniforms. As if I could rank the Air Force, it'd probably be at the bottom. It's just very super basic. Okay. So before I came in, I almost went in the Navy because I thought their Navy dress blues were amazing. And I thought, oh my God, I have to wear those. Right. So do you like your uniforms? Are they something where you wear that and you're like, yes? Or do you just go, oh no, I got to wear this again? So what are your uniforms like?
Yeah. So in the Army, our CAMs, as we call it, our camouflage uniform, I really liked them from the sense that they were super comfortable. I used to sometimes call them my green pajamas. So I felt quite comfortable in those, but I absolutely hated our called our polys or polyester uniform. They are not flattering at all. It's just like this. and the actual name of it, I think, is called like olive green drab. Like it's like an olive green, and it is
drab.
Yes. And it's this straight
Who
line.
looks good in that color green? I don't know anybody who looks good in that color.
No,
you're like, who thought this up? You know who thought this up? A man. Okay, that's who thought.
Totally. And then they try to make it look more feminine by having a knee-length straight skirt that doesn't look good on anybody. And then if you've got the option of that, or you get to wear the pants, which are really high-waisted and not flattering at all. But thankfully I only had to wear those for ceremonial or certain duties in the office. Most of the time it was cams, thankfully, but they were not. And there was a similar style in the Air Force and the Navy, but I think they looked a bit nicer because of their colours. So it was either white or blue, but when you had the olive green, it was just
and everything is that color.
Yes.
Now I remember when I was in the Air Force, and we would get Army people to come on the base, and they're like, wow, you guys have different colors everywhere. You know, you go to Army base and it's all drab. It's all that olive green, camouflage, like especially overseas, everything was that color. All the buildings were that color.
Yeah.
Almost like they're trying to hide from the world or something. So what kind of uniform restrictions do you have? And what I mean by that is some of the services here, for instance, the Army just had a rule where they loosened the restriction of women having their hair not touching their collar, or, they're able to wear earrings, stuff like that. Now in the Air Force, depending on your job, you could wear earrings. They couldn't hang down though. Your hair had to be up off your collar. You could wear rings, but they couldn't be outlandish. You couldn't wear bracelets. You could wear a watch. So were there kind of restrictions like that also?
Yeah, there were. I don't know if they have been relaxed now, but certainly when I went through, it was the same thing about the hair on the collar. So you could only wear your hair in a bun, and the only time you could have it in a ponytail, it had to be a plaited ponytail, and that was when you were doing PT, so physical training. Or if you were out bush, you could wear, so on exercise, you could have it in a plait as well. And you could only wear, I think that the definition was like a wedding ring, engagement ring, or a signet ring. So the definition of signet is something of significance to you. So that could kind of get, bent a little bit. But I think most of the time, even wearing rings and things that could, I don't know many people that really wore them, or they'd get ones that was like a almost like a rubber band, just more for safety reasons and things like that, I think. But I know I really wanted to get my nose pierced. I think I'd been serving for maybe 10 years. And that was definitely not allowed. But what I did go and do it. So
did you?
Yeah. So what I did is I timed it over, I knew that I was going to take about 2 months off over Christmas. I was taking an extended period. So my first day of leave, I went and got my nose pierced, and I thought, okay, it should be healed by the time I get to work, and I can put a clear stud or something and no one will notice it. That failed. That did not work at all.
You're like, dang it. I thought I was being clever.
Yeah. So I tried to buck the military norm. And then also the hair coloring as well. You couldn't really have anything.
Yeah, you couldn't have purple hair or pink hair.
Yeah.
No.
Anything like that.
I like it when they say it has to be complementary to the skin. Okay.
Yeah.
Purple looks good on me.
I know.
Great in purple.
I find that. That's up for interpretation, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, I have a question about your the enlistment. So when you enlist, is it how many years? Is it 2 years, 3 years, 4 years each enlistment?
Yeah, so it's a minimum of 4 years.
Okay.
But the what we call a ROSO, which is return of service obligation, is dependent on what kind of job or trade you go into. So most of the trades in the Army are 4 years, but I signed for 6 because I did a more technical trade. So because my training was longer, I then had to pay that back in my service, I guess. So they want to get their money's worth, I guess, from investing all that time. We trained
you. We're getting everything out of you that we can.
yeah, that's it. And I think it's probably similar in the other services. To be honest, I'm not entirely sure. And then I think officer trade is more than that again, particularly if they go through the ADFA, which is like the university, and then they do their officer training. So I think it's up. I think it might even be 9 years for that stream. I'm not entirely sure, but I think it's somewhere around there. So it does vary, but it's usually a minimum of 4 years. Yeah.
Is retirement 20 years that you do in the service like it is over here?
So our retirement age is the same as civilian. So it's not like you do 20 years and you have to leave. You can continue serving right up until the designated retirement age of Australia. So, if you are fit and willing and capable to work, beyond that 20 years, well into your 50s and 60s, then you can keep doing it. So that's where it's a little bit different, I think.
Okay.
So there's no forced retirement at 20.
Wow. So if you feel good, you can just hang out.
Yeah, you can just keep going and going and going.
Wow. The Air Force was like, no, you got to go. Bye. Yeah. You've done with it's been nice, but you got to go.
Yeah, I know. And I find that really interesting how that happens. Because, imagine if you just don't want to. You're like, no, this is, I want to keep doing this. So, yeah.
Well, I think 20 years is a long time to do anything.
It is, yeah.
And I've known people that have stayed in service 25, 27, 30 years. And I'm like, yeah, no.
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm glad I left when I did because I was ready. I'd done my time and I was good to go. So I understand that you've done quite a few deployments. Can you tell us a little bit about where you deployed?
Yeah. So I went to the Solomon Islands and East Timor. So they're in the Pacific region. If people aren't familiar, some of your listeners more in North America. And then I did a tour to Iraq and then also Afghanistan.
So what's the Solomon Islands sounds like? That sounds just like a resort area to me. I was like, ooh, and I know it's not. It's probably totally different. But why did you go to the Solomon Islands?
So that was my very first deployment. I was 20 years old and I went as a radio operator, and we Australians were assigned to go in there as it was called Ramsey, so the Regional Assistance Mission to the Solomon Islands. So by request of the Solomon Islands government, we were going in there to help with a weapons amnesty, I believe, at the time, and then also assisting with a number of there was various rebel groups and things like that. So that was our main mission in there, is to support the Solomon Islands government in stabilizing that region.
Right.
Yeah.
How long were you there?
I was there for 4 months.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
It still sounds frightening. I mean, it's just, like, okay, we're going over here. And you're like, All right, 20 years old, not knowing what to expect.
Yeah.
But it is frightening. My very first assignment in the Air Force um, was the Terceira Islands. So I couldn't
Yeah.
even find it on a map. Azores, Portugal.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was a
Yeah.
refueling base. And I remember calling my father in tears because I couldn't find it. And he said, "You see those little dots right there?" And I was like, "No, I can't go to a dot. I don't want to go to a dot." But it was beautiful. And at the time, every 6 months, you could leave the island and come back to the States every 6 months for
Wow.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
No matter how
Yeah.
much leave you had accumulated, you could come back to the States.
Yeah.
And looking back, it was probably the best first assignment I could have had because it was just quiet. Nothing happened. Planes landed, they refueled, they left. It was wonderful.
Yeah.
What about East Timor? Timor? Did I say it right?
Yeah. Timor.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So we often shorten it to Timor. So um, that that was a great deployment. I worked alongside our Black Hawk helicopters. So I worked as
Oh,
the
nice.
aviation analyst, and I was also working with our Kiwi or New Zealand counterparts. So they had their Iroquois. So I was supporting both of those, and that was a really, that was certainly a different experience for me because I was only very newly trained as an intelligence analyst, and I was on
Mm-hmm.
my own. I didn't have other analysts that I worked with in my team. So that was a steep learning curve, but a really
Wow.
great experience being
Mm-hmm.
there as well. Yeah.
My husband, he would give briefings to pilots. So he hung out with pilots all the time. And he would brief them on how to identify unidentified um, aircraft, I guess, what to look for to see if they're friendly, not friendly, et cetera. And he told me this story. He said he met these, he saw, he had to meet these two pilots on the flight line and they were drunk, like drunk.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
And I said, "Well, what? They can't fly." And he goes, "They took a couple of hits of oxygen. They were ready to go." I was like,
Oh,
"Get out."
oh what?
I said, that's what oxygen did. He goes, "Yeah." They were like, "Oh, let's go. We're ready." And I thought, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
I had no idea. I was like, those pilots, man, they look
Yeah.
super cool, but they're partiers. They know, and they know how to be up and ready for their job.
Yeah.
So you served 12 years, correct?
12 years. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was your decision to get out? Why did you decide 12 years was it and you're ready to go?
Yeah. It's not, I think it was coming for maybe about 12 months before that decision. I thought I was going to be a lifer. I thought I was going to be in forever. I had aspirations to, go as far as I could and stay in.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I started to have a shift when I found my job was quite high tempo. The work, whilst rewarding, I did feel as though I didn't know if that was something that I wanted to do, long term.
Right.
And then I found that I also was very fortunate that I'd achieved far more than I actually thought I ever would in such a short amount of time. Like I never would have, just to have one deployment would have been fantastic, but I ended up having 4, which was amazing. I played a lot of sport in the Defence Force as well. So doing a lot of things, I just felt like, wow, I've ticked off a lot of boxes that I felt if I'd stayed longer that it may have turned the other way and I became very jaded and, the stress of everything may have made me, really dislike what I was doing. And I didn't want to leave feeling like that.
Right.
And then the other side as well was I'd started to become a lot more interested in the health and fitness industry. I was, 29 at the time. So I thought, well, if I'm going to pivot in my career, maybe this is a good time to do it. I've achieved amazing things in this amount of time. Right. Maybe I leave and I pursue something else in my life now that it's time for me to to leave on a high, on a good note, and,
Right.
just see where life can take me now. So that was
Mhm.
kind of my decision process.
You talked about your deployments. How was deploying to Iraq and Afghanistan? How was that for you?
Yeah, you talk about getting out of your comfort zone. That was definitely, feeling as though, wow, okay, I'm definitely on operations here, and no place there is safe.
Right.
You often, as you're probably familiar, you hear the term outside the wire,
Yes.
but in the places I was at, we were getting rocket attacks, and there was no shortage of feeling as though you could get killed on your just walking to work, from your
Yeah.
accommodation to where you're
It
going.
almost
So
it almost feels as though you didn't have, like there's a safe place to go. Like there's no
no,
safe place to go, you
yeah.
know. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Oh,
That thought just popped in my head.
oh no, exactly, and exactly as you're saying. But in saying that, I really thoroughly enjoyed both of those deployments for the experience that I got within my job role, and then also I think as an individual, as a person, because you see and hear about all these places that are just, gone through so much war and so much turmoil, but you
Right.
can't quite feel connected to it because it almost feels like it doesn't exist. It's in this other land, it's in this other place. But then when you're
Right.
actually there and you're experiencing it firsthand for just such a short amount of time compared to
Hmm.
these are people that have experienced in their life, it's
Right.
generational. You get this incredible sense of, wow, I am so lucky to have been born where I was born in Australia, and
Hmm.
that almost that sense of privilege to try and I feel so honoured and privileged that I've been given this responsibility to come into this country to perhaps try and help it in some way, in some
Right.
small way, or be a part of something that's a bit bigger. But challenging deployments, but certainly rewarding. I would
Hmm.
say, yeah.
I always hear people talking about, like, I never deployed. I got out before any of this was happening. But I tend to feel as though that if I had been over there, it's almost like you have to have your head on a swivel 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you know, and the people that you deployed with almost become your family. Did that, was that part? I mean, did you feel that, or am I overthinking it? Like this is going to be one of those, you know, TV movie things. Was it like that for you?
Oh, 100%. So Afghanistan, definitely. That was the last deployment that I did. And the guys that I worked with are like brothers to me.
Mhm.
We were all so close. And I think our personalities all got on really, really well. There were times when I needed my own space, and I
Yeah.
think we all did. But yeah, that deployment really for me was aside from the job being so incredibly rewarding and challenging, was the
Mhm.
people that I was there with really made that deployment just fantastic. It was, and it helped you with those times when it is really challenging. And then in terms of, head on the swivel, yes, most definitely. When you're there, when you first get there, you kind of like that, and then you ease into it, and you get that sense of complacent, or almost, because you're like, oh yeah, this is fine, and then and then the sirens go off, and there's a rocket attack, and you're like, oh no, that's right, yeah, I'm in Uruzgan
Oops, I
province in
forgot where I
Afghanistan.
was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there we go.
Well, it's
Yeah,
almost like
so
culture shock. You go over there and it's not only the culture of a different country, but also the what's happening there. So you not only
yes,
have to get used to that, but now you're getting used to people throwing real bombs at you,
yeah.
artillery. And there's no sense of ever just feeling, oh, let me meditate. Let me relax. I
Yeah.
can't imagine. It's like, yeah, I meditate for 15 minutes. Seriously?
Yeah.
So I kind of imagine that you're always on edge. So was it difficult when you came back to really just relax, or did you just go right into it? You're like, oh, I'm home. It's all good.
Oh, no, no, no. I think each and every deployment I went on took me longer to feel like I was myself.
Mhm. Mm-hmm.
And Afghanistan being the long one, I think, the last one, sorry, I think it took me about 6 to 7 months before I felt like I was me again.
Wow.
And for me, what changed was I was so busy in that job and I had such a important role that to come back and try and just do barracks life or, things that just seemed mundane and not important to me was
Yes.
really difficult.
Right.
And then the other side of that was I would be in shopping centres, which I found very confronting for quite a couple of months
Mm-hmm.
because there was so much going on, but it was like I was hyper alert to people's conversations and I would hear people complaining about the dumbest things like,
Right.
oh, that shop opened 5 minutes late, or, oh, I can't get that flavored ice cream, and I couldn't deal with it. I couldn't deal
Yeah.
with it. And so I had to leave because I'm like, I've just been in this part of the world where these people are lucky to wake up alive every day,
Right.
Um, and I just found that very confronting to try and get back and have a sense of purpose,
Mm-hmm.
knowing that I had to kind of get back into normal life again and not let it affect me. So I tried to keep myself
Mm-hmm.
very busy. That was kind of my way of dealing with it. And then over time, I started to feel like it was okay to
Like it
sit
was
and
normal. Yeah.
yeah,
Like
like I
you're
could sit.
feeling, okay, I'm kind of me again. And it's
Yeah.
it's weird though, because I didn't deploy, but I had to go to Korea. I went to Osan Air Base close to the end of my career. And you kind of put yourself in this, and these are, I'm totally not comparing these, but the way I'm thinking about is that you put yourself in this. I had to put myself in this safety bubble. Okay. You're walking around and you almost feel like you're in this protection mode. Okay. And I came home and I'd been home about 2 weeks. My husband was like, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Yeah, why?" And he goes, "Well, you're just very quiet. You're very, you kind of forget that, oh, I'm home. This is home. I'm staying for a while.
Yeah.
And it's really just, and I can't imagine being, in Iraq or Afghanistan when all of that was, even more so. But you can't put yourself in a bubble because you have to hang on to the people that you deployed with, because that's kind of your lifeline right there.
Mm.
Let's switch subjects a little bit. So you got out of the military. How was your transition from military? Is it easier in Australia? Is the process easier? What I mean by that is, does the service prepare you better, or do you think you were prepared to get out and transition versus what we're dealing with over here? So I transitioned 21 years ago and it was horrific. It was horrible.
Mm.
But there wasn't Facebook. There weren't Facebook groups. There weren't all these organizations, which is okay. I get it. But even now, I'm hearing the same stories from women about how hard it is to transition. So tell me your transition story. Was it difficult? Was it easy? Did the service prepare you well?
Yeah. So I think overall, I I had a generally good transition, but it certainly had its challenges. And even now, every now and then, little things pop up that I go, "Oh yeah, I still need to kind of figure that out."
Yeah.
So if we talk first about how the service prepares us, I think in some ways it did. We had to do a career transition seminar, which is like a day activity, but most of the information in there is, these are the organisations you can go to. This is the superannuation contact details. This is the, these are other resources you can have. Whereas I think what I felt I needed was, how can I really translate my skills and experience in the military to civilian? And sure, there was part of that transition, depending on how many service you did, you could go and get further training at defence cost to go and learn about, getting resume writing and transitioning into different civilian careers. I didn't qualify because I'd served for under 12 years. Well, I was like right on the cusp. So over 12, you could get that. So that was a fantastic initiative. But even then, I think it was more, okay, well, you're in this core, you've had this trade, so maybe go for these kind of jobs, and there you go. And at the time you think, oh yeah, I'm sure it's fine. I've got, you know, that you were part of something really unique and you've got these unique skills and you're going to be a fantastic employee, but
and then nobody hires you.
Yes. And that's what I found. So when you started applying for jobs, because you leave, you're on this high, you're like, wow, I did all this stuff. Like,
I'm a superwoman. Can't you see my cape? Hire me.
Yeah. And then you don't get hired, or you do get hired, and then all of a sudden you're getting treated like an idiot. And
yes.
So there was certainly, I think, what I struggled with when I left, and it wasn't in the first 12 months because I did take some time off to kind of find myself and figure out who I was. But when I started looking for work again, I had no idea what job to search for, because I couldn't go radio operator, or I couldn't go intelligence analyst. I was like, okay, what skills can I pull out to try and put that into a civilian job search and see what comes up. So that I found very difficult to try and figure out how to navigate that area.
It's really difficult because and you're not alone, because we go through the same thing here. And I think it's these civilian organizations, you know, that don't put the same price on military service as we put on it ourselves. Okay. So I'm walking out thinking, you know, I'm going to be making all this money, and then no one's, you know, or they gloss over your service. They're like, oh, you did the military. Great. And I'm like, no, go back. I did 20 years. Ask me about that, you know, and those skills that you have to have in order to do that. So I was on Clubhouse the other day, or maybe it was last week, I can't remember, but we were talking about how we are in the military, we get out of the military, and we think we're worth all this money. And then the organizations that we apply to don't put the same sense of the monetary sense on what we did. You know what I'm saying? And in the military, we're put in charge of millions of dollars worth of assets. And yet we come out and we apply for a job, and they're like, wow, you know, you did 20 years, but if you just had a degree, and they're like, I could have had 4 degrees. Okay. But I was defending you while I was in the military so that you could sit here and tell me I'm not qualified. So that's interesting you said that, because that's a lot of that is going on here too. And I think it's this sense of organizations not understanding what we bring to the table.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The leadership skills, the sense of structure, you know, those things. And I mean, the list can go on. I mean, if we could just come up with a list and say, here you go, here's what I can do. Pay me, you know? So it's interesting that you're finding that you found that also, you know, getting out. Towards the end, you know, were you optimistic? Were you happy? Were you sad? I kind of went between, you know, this euphoria and depression, euphoria and freaking out, euphoria and, oh my God, what am I going to do? Did that happen for you, or you were just okay?
Yes and no. So I knew that when I came to that decision, because I had like rattled that around in my head for months, I'd lost sleep over it. And I remember the day vividly. I literally woke up one morning and I just instantly knew, I'm like, I know what I've got to do. I'm like, at the time I was earmarked to go to Afghanistan again. I think I was meant to go in like 4 months, and I just went, I know what I've got to do. I'm going to take myself off the trip. I'm going to train the team that I would have gone with. I'm going to continue to do that. I'm going to give myself 6 months and I'm leaving and I'm done. And that's that. And I guess in those 6 months, I had this incredible amount of, wow, I can do anything that I want to, which is so incredibly freeing. And
Right.
I can live anywhere I want. But then on the other sense, I didn't have a plan. I didn't know
Right.
what job I was going to get or anything. But I had no responsibilities. I was single at the time. I had no
Mhm.
children. So I didn't have that extra pressure of
Right.
needing to support anybody else. But I would say I was probably a bit more excited in that I had decided to go traveling for 12 months and go way off the grid. And so I knew that that's what I was going to do. Had I had said to myself that I needed to have a job the day after I finished the military, I think I would have been a lot more stressed out because I didn't
Right.
know what I wanted to do. I
Right.
didn't have a firm plan. And I think then I would have been a lot more,
So you took
oh
like the
gosh.
equivalent of a gap year that we would say
Yeah,
when kids are like, I'm not going to college right out of high school. So you took a gap year from the military,
I
to
did. I
decide
did.
what you wanted to do. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. And I called it living the last year of my 20s because I was 29
Yeah.
and I went, that's it. The only decision I need to make each day is what's going to make me happy. And that's literally what I did. I didn't have an itinerary when I went traveling and I just went,
Oh my
what's going to make me
gosh.
happy?
That's
And I had
brave. I mean, that's
yeah.
really, be like, yep, I'm traveling for the whole year. And people are like, oh, whoa, okay. But
Yeah.
that's pretty cool though.
Yeah. And a lot of people, I think I do credit my decision to do that as having a overall positive transition. Although I did have challenges, although there's certainly things that were very difficult and outside my comfort zone, I think it enabled me to find myself. And the big thing that I had was, who am I? Like, I had been an adult in the army. That's all I'd known. I'd grown
Right.
up as an adult in the army. I had to figure out, well, who is Renae that isn't in the army? So I made a purpose, a decision when I was traveling and people would meet me and they go, hi, what do you do? And I didn't mention anything about the military because I didn't want to talk about that, not because I was ashamed or anything, but I wanted to create new conversations. I wanted
Right.
to open up new possibilities of discussions with people. So I would talk more about, I was a qualified personal trainer. So I would say, oh, I'm a personal trainer, or,
Mhm.
I talk about those things
Yeah.
and less about work. So that year was really about finding my identity, which set a really good foundation for me then to come back and
Mhm.
integrate in and become a civilian and then go about
Mhm.
getting employment and things like that. So I think that really helped with my transition.
So let's talk about your business, Reborn Health. Why did you pick nutrition?
Yeah. So I thought that I was going to be more exercise orientated. I'd started a sports science degree and I thought that I would be a PE teacher or something along those lines. But I just found in my own personal health journey the incredible things that you could do with nutrition, that it can
Mhm.
completely change your life for the better just simply by going in and choosing foods to nourish you in the supermarket. And I thought, how incredibly empowering that you don't need to spend extra money on supplements and you don't need to spend extra money in a gym membership or anything. You just
Mhm.
choose foods that are going to support and nourish you, and you can really turn your life around, or do amazing things with your health. And I just thought, wow, I really want to learn more about that. I want to learn more about how the nutrients of food work in our body. I want to learn more about the body.
Mhm.
So so I decided to do a nutrition degree and absolutely loved it. I knew instantly that I was definitely heading on the right path of the
Mhm.
career choice that I was making. And it's quite a 180 flip from what I was doing. And a lot of people are like, what? You're a nutritionist, but you're in the
Like,
army? That doesn't
hey.
make yeah. But there's some
Mhm.
similarities that I've kind of drawn that I think has kind of helped me become the nutritionist I am now in running my business.
Sure.
But
Yeah. Are you
yeah,
doing a lot of one-on-ones on Zoom? Like, do you have clients that you just meet with, you know, and you have to, how did it go this week? And you get that Well,
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it is. It's all on Zoom. And the great thing is I transitioned to running an online business just before we left Australia 3 years ago. So that was before COVID. I started figuring out that I needed to have a flexible kind of job, and online was it for me. And I thought it's convenient for clients as well. They can be at home and talk to me openly and comfortably in their own surroundings about, their food. So, yeah.
That's awesome. So to end, I want to ask you this question. And I mean, I've seen pictures of Australia, which absolutely gorgeous, but I also know that Australia always has the biggest and baddest sharks, the biggest and baddest spiders, the most dangerous and poisonous snakes, and I'm like, why would I go to Australia? So if I'm coming to Australia, what's the one place that you think I would need to visit before I left?
Oh gosh, there are so many amazing things in Australia.
Okay, give me top 3.
Okay, I'd have to say the Great Barrier Reef.
I've heard of that.
Yep. Absolutely stunning and beautiful, ecosystem that we've got there, right? Like, we're so privileged to have that. So I would definitely say the Great Barrier Reef. I would say the second would be, okay, so if you're a beach person, I spent a little bit of time living over in Western Australia, in Perth, and the beaches and the coastline along there is just beautiful. It's the white sandy beaches, it's the beautiful blue water, and the southern parts of Western Australia. So, and I never got to the northern part of Western Australia, but that's just, it's often missed. I think a lot of people go to East Coast, but the western side of Australia is just absolutely stunning, very laid back, beachy culture, enjoying
you could just relax.
We've got like the Sunday sesh, so you go to a pub and enjoy a drink and watch the sunset into the ocean. So that it's just really lovely. Yeah, I've got 2 ocean things there. So I've got Great Barrier Reef and I've got the beach. So how about we go to the center? And I'd have to say you'd have to see, the outback. I think that's what everybody in their mind goes, Australia. And there's something very beautiful about the outback regions. So, you could go to Uluru, or you could go to outback Queensland, which is where I grew up. So I've got that's kind of a favorite of mine. But yeah, there's something very beautiful and unique about that part of Australia. But I must say I'm biased. There's so many parts I could list, but I'm like,
I know, you're like,
I'm like,
how much time do we have?
Yeah. And then I'm like, we've got the wine regions,
Okay. I'm a wine girl. I will go to the wine region.
Okay. Well, if you want to go to wine, you go to Adelaide. There is some amazing wine regions down there. So the Barossa and
oh my gosh.
It's beautiful, lovely part of the world. Yeah.
Now, I know you're living in Canada right now. So what do you miss about Australia, and what do you love about Canada?
I think I miss our longest summers. I must say it's a little bit difficult to have 7
You're
months
like,
where I'm
spring is over already, or summer's over. Wait, we just started. Yeah.
Yeah. I do kind of miss that. And of course I miss my family and being able to see them. But I think having the start of winter here, I get really excited. And I'd say that's probably the thing that I do love about Canada is the snow, because it's such a novelty for us, particularly to have it at Christmas time. So at the start I get really excited about the snow, and
Then about a month
all the
later, you're like, okay, is winter over yet?
yeah. And all the Canadians that I'm friends with here are like, oh gosh, yeah, the Aussies excited again. And yeah, like I'm out there playing like a kid in the snow, and they're just rolling their eyes. So
well, I was stationed, it's closed now, but I was at Loring Air Force Base, which is this, okay, people from Maine, when I tell them I was in Caribou, go, oh, okay, because it was so far north that you could walk across the border into Canada. And their winter started in September. So we had 8 to 9 months of winter.
yeah.
Okay. And so now I've moved to North Carolina, with beautiful weather, And so every Christmas they're like, oh, I wish it would snow. And they'd say, oh, snow's predicted for Charlotte. They closed the schools the day before, and then you might get 5 flakes.
Yeah.
And I'm in Charlotte. Now in the mountains, you'll probably get more, but they go, oh, I wish it was sun. I said, and I told someone this, I said, if I never see snow again, except on TV or to visit it, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Because I know I can leave. I'm like, okay, bye. Good to see you, I've seen more snow than I care to admit. So, but I guess growing up and not seeing snow, that it's probably still that, that childlike kind of, awe about snow, which I will never have ever again. It's just saying.
Yeah.
Well, Renae, it's been such a pleasure having you on. And thank you so much for doing this and letting our audience know what it's like for women veterans down under.
Yeah, no, it's an absolute pleasure. And I can't wait to hear more of the guests speak and really get an understanding of the differences between the two and the similarities, I guess. There are a lot of similarities
that I'm starting to figure that out. Thank you so much for listening. And I hope that you will join us again on June 12th when bonus episode number 2 will drop with the magnificent Anastasia Campos. Until then, please be safe, take care of each other, and until next time.